Well, this video is going to go over the initial setup process for the install version. We had a lot of people get kind of confused on how this process is supposed to work this year, especially when they're trying to get set up with Republic Bank to offer the pre-acts. So we're going to kind of go through this from start to finish, from setting up a few key items such as the defaults and just running through the initial install process itself. So right now I've went ahead and just started the install. You'll get the wizard screen, and then we'll just go ahead and hit OK, and then kind of move on from there. So while this is happening on the screen, we'll just go over, again, moving into this year, the pre-acts started on the 4th, and you've been able to start processing those since then. You'll be able to you have to use the install version. You can't use the web version in order to offer those, which we actually sent out an email about. So this is going to help make sure that everyone's set up, not only just to offer the Republic pre-acts, but also to make sure that the install version is completely set up moving forward. That way we can use this video in the future for anybody that's wanting to know how to set up the software. So the install system is pretty straightforward. You just kind of hit next, 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 and then it's installed. It usually doesn't take too long, and it would just depend on your computer speed, depends on how long that it actually takes to install the program moving forward. So now that the install is pretty much completed, you'll get this error message. Ignore this because Windows 10 actually already has a PDF driver installed, so you can just kind of ignore this message. You'll be able to create PDFs no problem through the program. So if this message pops up for you, you can just go ahead and hit OK and ignore that message. Once we're finished, we'll also get another pop-up about Adobe Reader. Just kind of ignore this. Most everybody has a form of Adobe Reader on their computer through Microsoft Edge or anything. One thing I will notice is that you will get this message about restarting your computer. Absolutely make sure that you do restart your computer. If you don't restart the computer after the first time installing, even on the main computer, like the server, or a standalone computer, or a workstation, you will get an error message. You definitely want to make sure that you go ahead and restart your computer once you have installed the software the first time. Since I've already installed it on this computer, I'm going to hit no, so I can go ahead and proceed to the setup. Now, you will see an icon on your desktop once the software has been installed, so we're going to go ahead and run this. Then now the first screen that we're going to get is going to be the setup screen. Now on the screen, we're just going to enter our EFIN in and our registration code. Once you have the registration code information in, you'll hit validate code when you're completed. I've already done this process, so it already says you've validated. So again, just hit validate code, and you'll see your client ID will show up along with the green message saying that you have successfully validated. Now, once we have done this, we can go ahead and move on and hit next to go ahead and continue the process of the installation to the setup wizard. Now, next screen, if this is a brand new install, you'll just do a new install. Now, if you are a prior client, you'll want to go ahead and select the option for use prior year data. You'll have this to be able to be checked if you did have the 2016 installed, but on this computer I only have the 2017, but you can be able to carry forward such as your EIN database, your users, your groups, your prepare information, things like that, to have it carry forward. But for this instance, we're just going to end up doing a new install just to show for brand new people using the software. Partner verification screen, you can actually skip this. You'll get that later on, so we don't need to bother with that now. Office information, this is of course where you want to enter in all your office information, so contact name, company address, things like that. Also the company EIN for the business as well. Of course, again, you'll want to enter in your company address and things like that, but for right now, I'm going to leave this blank to show what happens, of course, later on if you do leave this blank during your defaults. But of course, you want to set your phone number just in case you do. Go ahead and have that as well. But again, go ahead and hit next. We'll go ahead and show the CCH iFirm. You want to skip this. All of our people get staypaperless.com for free and included with Surefire purchase. So we typically just recommend skipping the screen because, again, you do get staypaperless.com for free, which is a client portal system. The CCH version is a lot more expensive. If you want to purchase those, you can, but again, you get Stay Paperless for free. Next is going to be the Prepare Information screen. This is where we can default our preparers. So if it's just me or multiple people, we can hit New. We'll fill out this information you see here. Now, the most important two boxes you'll see is Prepare ID box. This box you want to enter in probably just like your initials, because anytime I ask you for the Prepare ID, anywhere inside a tax form, you just enter in the ID and it will load this information that you've entered here below. So you definitely want to fill out as much information here as you can, and also go ahead and check the box for print signature. That way you yourself as an ERO or preparer does not have to actually sign the return. The software will do that for you. The only people that will actually need to sign the return, of course, is a taxpayer, and they can do it digitally, do like Stay Paperless, or of course if you print it off and have them do it in person, then they can do that as well. So for this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'll default some prepare information just so that I can show you what will happen down the road when we do have the information defaulted in. So I went ahead and defaulted that. Now you can see my information is listed. From the drop down, I can hit select prepare, and I can select that information and default it. Now if the ERO information is blank, that's because I did not check the box for ERO, which will have me enter in the EFIN, so that information will automatically carry to the 8879. So you probably want to do that. That way you can just select a drop down and it'll automatically carry the company information, so you might not have to do that later on in your defaults, but we'll show the tax form defaults anyways under the admin here shortly. So once all that is done, we just hit next. Printing and network setup, this is pretty straightforward. You'll set your printers on the top left for each one of the different items. You can just use one printer if you want. You mark network install if it is a network install, or you can leave it local install. If you're going to have multiple computers, just go ahead and mark it for network. You can also print in all capital letters for your settings, or you can do printing a blank page after every return if you do batch printing. Some people like to automatically print acknowledgments, or they like to automatically print the acceptance 9325. It's up to you, whatever you personally want to do. Moving along, this is the general options screen. Do not check this box right here. This box right here for enable screen readers only for typically used for blind people, and they'll actually read off the diagnostic screens. It actually causes more issues and helps, especially during validation errors. So we highly recommend just leaving that blank. Most of the stuff here, you can just kind of leave as defaults. We're going to hit next, and this screen right here, if you did use the install version the prior year, this is how you'd actually carry forward all of your prior year data. You just click this button and follow the prompts, and then you can carry it forward so that when you go to start a new return with that social from last year, it will prompt to load all that data from last year's return. And other thing that I would recommend is on the bottom left-hand corner is to make sure to check the box for Save as Workstation Defaults. That's going to be down here. And then as long as you check this box, anytime you do decide to do a workstation in the future, it will automatically load everything that we've done here, so you don't have to rekey everything. And then once we're done, go ahead and hit Save and Close. So now we're done with that process. We can go ahead and open up the software, and this you'll get the partner verification screen. Just go ahead and hit yes to download it. This will connect to the servers and e-filing center and download any preset information like what bank you're associated with, stuff like that. And then once you're done, you'll be notified just to hit close, and you're ready to go. All right, next, you will have no default password. Now, you have to have a password because of IRS regulation, but there will be no default password. So when you're first time setting up, you just leave it blank and hit login, and you'll be told to create a password. So I'm going to hit OK. And then you'll get this little screen. Now, you have to do at least 8 characters, 1 uppercase letter, 1 lowercase letter, a number, and a special character. Now, if you do not follow these rules, you will always have a red box around this password box, and it will still say required. So, for example, if I just type in a password that does not meet the requirements, like Surefire 2016, you see that it's still in red. A lot of people get confused by this because, again, it does not meet the requirements. Now, if I put Surefire at 2016 with a capital S and @ sign, now I've met the requirements and that box is gone. So that will allow us to go ahead and hit OK at the bottom and then go ahead and proceed further through the setup process. So again, make sure you choose a password correctly. I'm going to use this Surefire at 2016 as my temporary one. The next screen is really important too because, again, the admin username cannot create new returns. So again, the admin is only used for setting up defaults or changing and unlocking other users in case they get locked out. The admin username cannot create new returns. So in this case, we want to create our own username to create returns in the software. So usually what people do is they'll just use the guest username, or they'll go ahead and modify that username to create returns. Because again, I can't stress it enough, a lot of people get confused that the admin username cannot create new returns. You'll actually get an error message. So in this case, I'm going to select guest, do view and edit, and then I'll get this screen. And so, like I said, most people sometimes will leave this as guest, or you can actually change it. Like I'm going to just type my name, Matt. And then for the password, I'm just going to just use the same password as I did before. I'm just going to go ahead and use the Surefire with a capital S, the @ and 2016 for my password like I did with the admin. Again, you can have both passwords with the admin the exact same. That's fine. Just make sure you remember this information because if you get locked out, there's a series of things that you have to do in order to unlock it. The different users, most of the time you're going to use super user for just yourself, but I'll go ahead and quickly go through the other ones. Again, administrator is only used for default information and unlocking other people, so you really don't want to set anyone else as an administrator. Just use the admin username. It's the easiest thing to do. The super user can create returns, they can create e-files, and they can submit e-files. So if it was for me or another one of my people, I need to be able to actually do their own returns and submit their own returns, but I would want to set them as a super user. Now, for something like the other usernames, such as like a preparer can only create returns, and they can only get them ready to be filed. So if I just have one person, a couple people in my office, and I only want them to be able to create the return and get it ready to be filed, I would set them as just a preparer. Now, with the other usernames from the drop down, the return manager would be the one that can do everything a super user can do, to where they can actually create returns, they can submit e-files and everything like that, just like a super user, but a return manager can see all the returns in the office. So if you had Joe and Jackie do returns, and you yourself, like myself, Matt, or whatever, if I was a return manager, I could log in and see all the returns that Joe and Jackie did, because I'm a return manager. So this would be perfect type of role for the person that's actually going to be going into each one of the returns that have been started by the preparer, so they can actually finish it off and e-file it themselves. So that would be the typical way that that process will work with that type of assigned groups for those type of users. So for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and just set myself as a super user. That way I can create returns and things like that during this intro video. And then once that's done, I can just go ahead and hit OK. So next, we just want to go ahead and log in under the admin using the password that we previously set up. In this case, I just done something simple, the Surefire at 2016 with a capital S. And then I'll get this screen right here. Now the select package screen, you'll mostly be working under probably 1040. You can default and make it so that this doesn't automatically show every time you log in. And that's what a lot of people do, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that unchecked for right now. So you can change it by going to the file, change package, or once you're in, you can do a change package. So right here in the middle, you can see where it says change package. If I don't have that screen automatically show up each time, I can, if I want to, I can just go ahead and change package, because at the top here, you'll see, it will actually tell you what you're actually under. So right now, I'm on version 32.00 of my software. I'm under the 1040 individual package, and I'm currently logged in under the admin username. So that's a quick reference so I know which I'm at. Right here is the return list. This will just show me all my returns that have been created. Again, if I'm a return manager, I'll see it for everybody, or if I'm a super user, I'll just see my returns I've done. And of course, an administrator can see all returns if they want. So if I want to, I can go ahead and click open return, and it will bring up that return list as well. I don't have to have it auto show either. The other thing I can do is hit start new return. I can see that since I'm under the admin username, I get an error message, because again, the admin cannot create new returns. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up some of our defaults. I'm going to show you how that works. This will just tell me what package I'm modifying. I want to do 1040 individual. So I'm going to go ahead and select 1040 for my tax form defaults and hit OK. Then I'll get a little pop-up. This will tell me that anything I do will affect every new return that I do. So if I've already created 5 returns and I come in here and make a change, those 5 returns will not be affected. Only new returns from here on out will be affected. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Yes. So again, this is going to be a blank return. Anything I change here will affect every new return that I do. So what I'll do is I'll scroll all the way down, and you can see since I defaulted that prepare information during the initial setup, where it says prepare ID box, it has my initials, and then since it has my initials, it preloaded all that other information. Now you see that these are still in red because I didn't fill these out during initial setup. So again, if it's left blank, you'll put a nice little red box around it letting you know what's missing. But if I would have filled it out, then all this information would have been filled out automatically because I did select the DH prepare to be automatically set as the default prepare information, since in my case I'm the only one here. It also did the same thing on the 8879 where it preloaded my EFIN at the top and then it has my company information at the bottom. Again, because I didn't fill out everything, it did not default this. You can see that print signature is defaulted in, but because I didn't put in your signature name or the firm address or anything like that, that's all left in red. So a lot of people, they'll default items on the main info, such as no for Puerto Rico, because we won't plan on doing any Puerto Rico returns. The other thing is you want to do is set up your self-select partitioner PIN. Now this is just for the ERO. Usually we just tell people to use your business zip code just for a quick reminder. And then also go ahead and you'll want to make sure to check the box right below it. Now this is for making it so that the prior year AGI information or prior year PIN is not required. So these 2 boxes right here, I can leave those 0, and I won't get a reject such as one of the IRS rejects you might get is the prior year AGI, prior year PIN does not match what they have on file, and that's because of various reasons. Maybe the refund was adjusted or something. So if you know who they are, or if you've already validated their ID through your own methods, you can just leave these 0 and then check the box that you're going to be using a self-select partitioner PIN, and that way that information is not required. And that will also be the quickest way to fix that type of reject for the prior AGI, prior PIN not matching, is to just do it like this to check that box and to 0 out the prior information. The other information that you probably want to default in is going to be the third-party disassignee. This is so that when you contact the IRS on the customer's behalf, you can actually talk to the IRS. If you don't fill this out, you yourself as a preparer won't be able to fill this out. So usually we just set this as the company information, and we'll just put the company telephone number. And then for the PIN number, we recommend just using the same thing you did with a self-select partitioner PIN. So I'll just, in this case, just use a zip code. Like we have right here, we just kind of duplicate it down below. That way we can remember it. Next thing at the top, we can hit add form. We can also go to form add, and then we want to do the price sheet. So we can see it's in red, we hit open, and now we have the price sheet added to the return. We can default this, we can itemize it out if we want to. You don't have to. You can actually just go to the first box and put your fee. On the left will show how many of those forms you actually have on the return, and this will automatically show the calculation for the pricing on this page. So for example, if I go to the W-2s, and then if I had, let's say, 4 W-2s, and I set this at 10, on the left it'll say 4, on the right it'll say 10, and it will automatically calculate $40 in my prep fee. So again, you can itemize it, or you don't have to itemize it. You can just put a flat rate in the 1040 box, and then that way it will just be a flat rate for the return. You can do whichever you want to. Again, if this form has red on it, it's not going to cause any errors with e-filing. Anything under the miscellaneous folder, none of these 3 forms will cause an e-file error. So if you have red next to them or a red explanation point, it's just letting you know, hey, you might be missing something. So don't be alarmed if that is the case. So again, quick overview, you can set a flat rate in the 1040 box whenever you're in the return. You can default pricing if you want to. You can, of course, change this whenever you're in the actual return itself and make changes as you go. And right now I'm just going to go ahead and close this. And again, once you close a return, it will automatically save. You don't have to worry about actually saving the return. It will automatically save every time you hit close. Now I'm going to go ahead and close the return list, and then the one thing you absolutely need to make sure you do, the first thing come in is your communication get program updates. This will check for actual program updates for your program. If it just says unable to download, that means there's no downloads ready, but if there is one, you'll be notified on the screen. The other thing you need to make sure of is you do get module updates. A lot of people think that program updates and module updates are the same, and that's not the case. Program updates will update the program. Module updates is like your federal updates and your state forms, being able to like print the forms and things like that. Or if your bank updates as well. So like in this case, we want to get module updates. So we already did our check for program updates first. Now we want to go ahead and get module updates to try to see if there's any updates for our federal and state tax forms. And again, this is a really good habit every day to get into. The first thing you come into the office, just do communications, get program updates, and communication, get module updates. We can also go under view authorization. We can see our EFIN. We can see our client ID. We can also see that nothing's been released yet because everything's on 0. So again, what we can do is we'll definitely want to go to communications, go to get module updates, and this will check for the updates. Now, if this screen ever freezes, don't panic. Just let it download. If you try to panic and force close a program, when you come back into it, you're just going to have to start all over again. And we don't want you to get frustrated. If you do communication, get module updates, you want to just let it go. And that's exactly why it's a perfect habit to do this first thing in the morning, so that you can knock your updates, or at least a majority of your updates, out of the way, since most updates are released first thing in the AM. We can see that it's done by being able to hit the close button. We can see right here that we did get a Republic update come down, and possibly a few other items as well. So I'm going to hit close. This is just let us know that if we go under reports, acknowledgments, that's how we can see any acknowledgments that we may have received. I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK on this. We'll see that we do have those modules waiting to be applied. So I just want to make sure to hit yes. And then when I hit yes, it's going to update and install any updates that I just previously downloaded in that previous screen. In this case, we can see that we got our Republic updates and stuff required to do that pre-act loan. I'm going to hit OK. And that's it. Now I'm ready to go. I can start creating new returns. I can go in under the my other username that I've created. Of course, I can't do it under admin, so I'm going to log in under Matt. I'll make sure to select my package, and then here we go. I can hit new return. And if I want to go ahead and start doing a return, I'll go ahead and just type in all these just to show you, since we did our defaults. And as you can see, on the left, we got our price sheet that we defaulted into our defaults. Also, if we go all the way to the bottom, we see all that default information we saw. All that other information, Puerto Rico, still no. Again, now that I downloaded that bank update, I hit Bank and then Republic, and I'll see that my forms actually load on the left because that update has now been applied to my account. So, also, keep in mind that this box right here in the middle in the app, this is where you want to actually check the box for that pre-act loan. And then just once you check that, just make sure to follow the instructions below. You can only do a RTDD, the prepaid card that you should have gotten from Republic, and also the Walmart option is where they can actually go to Walmart and pick up their loan and or refund when that's made available. So this is pretty straightforward. Again, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Give us a call or contact us, and we'll definitely take care of any issues you guys may have. Hopefully this video will be the first of many to help you guys throughout this year. We found that this will probably be a better option with communicating than just trying to send emails, since a lot of those get lost. Thank you for your time, and let us know if you need anything else. You all have a good day.